Crocodile is one of the best villains in the entirety of One Piece. He's cunning and ruthless, and his plans have backup plans in case something goes wrong. The sinister way he fooled his opponents to fight each other while sitting in the shadows the whole time was S-class villainy. If he had remained as consistent throughout the arc, he would have been one of the greatest villains in anime. Unfortunately, Oda made him really stupid as the arc was wrapping up and ruined his master class status. When he captures the Straw Hats, he doesn't just kill them for standing in his way. He explains his evil plan to them and then he walks away, by assuming the water is going to drown them. That's something Saturday morning cartoon villains do. Oda clearly wanted to plot armor the good guys, and this is the best he could come up with. And if you think this was the only time it happens, you are mistaken. A bit later, he reveals how he deceived the rebels as well as the bomb that is about to explode and turns everyone against him. Let me remind you that for almost 100 chapters, this is a guy who would murder his own agents a few seconds after they reveal the tiniest detail about his identity or the plan, and now he casually exposes everything like it doesn't matter. This is not the same crocodile you were following for 100 chapters. Oda wanted him to expose himself so the characters wouldn't have to use their brains for finding out the truth on their own, and as a result he ruined one of the best villains. In case you think it would be impossible for Oda to think of something smarter without changing the plot completely, you are mistaken. When the Straw Hats were trapped, Sanji lured Crocodile out of the palace for capturing him. If Crocodile had never managed to get to the cage for killing the Straw Hats, this issue would have been fixed. As for the other case when he reveals his plan about the bomb, he again didn't have to. Any of the Baroque agents that got defeated by the Straw Hats could have begged to be allowed to escape because the bomb is about to kill everyone, thus exposing the plan for saving his ass. These simple changes wouldn't alter a thing in the plot and wouldn't make Crocodile to come off as an idiot. But Oda didn't think of that, and that's why One Piece is not peak fiction.
Despite being the third highest rank within the Marines, Vice Admirals have never been a problem, and that is a problem. Because Eiichiro Oda wants us to take them seriously. He wants us to feel fear and tension whenever they show up. However, due to his own actions as an author, Eiichiro Oda has made this impossible. And so Vice Admirals occupy this very, very awkward space in the story where the author wants you to expect something from them, but never delivers on that something. They serve as a wharf effect to make our protagonists feel fearsome, and so they often exist as podium characters. They are designed to elevate others. It's no longer threatening or tension building to hear that a Vice Admiral is in the area, because we have no point of reference to actually view them as a problem. All it means is that someone's gonna have to wash their hands soon due to all of the Vice Admiral blood that's about to be shed. Vice Admirals are really only here to serve as a staircase for other characters. And what's worse is that it never seems to matter how many Vice Admirals there are. You could have 100, even 1,000, maybe even 100,000 of them, and the outcome would still be the same. It's very difficult to use them dramatically. Oda tries. He's like, Vice Admiral is here, and then character reacts to Vice Admiral going, oh no. But as readers and watchers, we just can't take them seriously. And the Vice Admiral's stain has even infected once competent characters like Smoker. Pre-time skip Smoker was an absolute beast, someone who was completely insurmountable to Luffy, and in fact Luffy lost against Smoker on several occasions and had to be rescued by outside effort. Not to mention that Smoker clashed relatively evenly with Ace. But then during the time skip, Smoker got promoted to Vice Admiral, and from that moment on he started losing every single fight. And now I want to go through what every other Vice Admiral did during the Enisobi incident. So we're going to do that, and we're done. And given that they were tactically outplayed as well, it just makes the Vice Admirals look pretty useless on both fronts. They exist as podiums to make other characters look better, which is why a lot of Vice Admirals have very, let's call them background-friendly designs. It's so hard to take them seriously, and that's not good, because we're supposed to. But more often than not, they turn out to be jokes, and in many cases, quite literally. There's a whole series of gag Vice Admirals who exist just for the sake of a joke. Vice Admirals are just extremely underwhelming. And that is one of the rare failings of One Piece in my opinion, because they have so much potential that I don't think will ever get to properly be explored. And every time I see them in the future, I know that they'll either be present to stand and react, or to kneel and become a podium for another character.
CP9 is supposed to be a top-secret organization that does not reveal its secrets. And yet one of their members is a guy with a zipper on his mouth that constantly reveals their secrets. Why do they have such a guy in their members if they are supposed to be a top-secret organization? You could say it's a joke that doesn't harm anyone, but that would be a lie since it harms both them and the people who find out the truth. It's also not a character gimmick that only the zipper guy has, since everyone reveals the truth despite being a top-secret agent. They go as far as describing their martial arts to the Straw Hats, so they can mimic them and defeat them easier. Therefore, it's not a fleeing joke, it's a major inconsistency that damages everyone's characterization, yet they act like it's only the zipper guy that is the problem. It's also far from the first or the last time Oda will be making the same mistake. Pretty much every villain will be revealing his evil plan to the heroes, and it's always a detriment to his objective. The supposed genius writer has no idea how to make the heroes find out the truth without someone info-dumping it to them, and even then he doesn't know how to have someone other than the villains being the ones who reveal the truth, even though they have nothing to gain from it. Yet another example of why One Piece is not pick fiction. If Oda is such a genius, why is he repeating the exact same plot in every arc? And if he's so good at it, why is he repeating the exact same bullshit? Here we go once again with a bad guy revealing his evil plan for no reason in front of thousands of people. It's the exact same thing as Hordy back in Fishman Island. He reveals to a princess that it was him who murdered the queen in front of thousands of people, just so he can become a one-dimensional villain the audience will want to see defeated. And he did that out of character, since he normally kept that as a secret for a decade. But now that the Straw Hats are here, he became dumb and revealed it because Oda doesn't know how to use his characters in a smart way for figuring out the truth in an intelligent way. What an amazing characterization that only a genius storyteller can produce. Did any of his fanboys point that out in the Q&A? No, because they were busy making dick jokes and prompting Oda to walk around with a bra on his head. Nobody gives a shit about the writing, they just call Oda a genius and talk about dicks. But wait, there is more. In the same chapter, another villain gave Usopp a poison fruit instead of just turning him into a toy, which is what she was doing with every other character so far. That completely idiotic reason, which was completely out of character, was what broke the power controlling the toys. Oda is such a genius, he's making his villains act like morons whenever the Straw Hats are present, because he doesn't know how to use them in a smart way for beating the villains. Especially in this case, which was supposed to be an elaborate attack plan with tactics and shit. He can't do it, he just makes the plot to magically favor the good guys by making the villains complete idiots. Perfect storytelling that only Oda can provide. And what were his fanboys doing all this time in the Q&A? Waiting for a nip slip from Rebecca and for more people to be kicked in the balls. Not a word about the bullshit in the story, because nobody gives a shit about the writing in One Piece. They just call Oda a genius and talk about dicks. What a wonderful writer, and what an amazing fandom.
I remember when we'd go to the Gorosei, it's like, oh man, they have it all together. They are like a board. They're sophisticated. They understand the inner workings of the world. Now it's just like, wait, we can't, the print, disappointing. Big News Morgan seems to have so much influence. Why don't you control that? That's the disconnect.
On your left, you have the Void Century, a huge mystery box that Oda is using for making the fans to keep theory crafting about what happened in the past. In order to keep the mystery bait going, he has the world government destroying an island and giving little children a bounty of 80 million just for knowing a few things they shouldn't. On your right, you have Big News Morgans, a newspaper publisher who is rich and powerful enough to inform everyone on the world of One Piece about the recent news within a few days. Oda is using him for quickly spreading the news for everything Luffy or anyone else does, so there can be constant hype moments with bounty increases and instant aftermath of events. And here is the contradiction that happens when you bring those two things together. If the world government goes as far as killing thousands of people and giving large bounties to children, why do they allow Morgans, someone powerful enough to publish anything he wants, even if they don't want to? You can't have a setting where an organization that doesn't allow forbidden knowledge to spread for 800 years to coexist with another organization that spreads forbidden knowledge all the time and very fast. You can try to justify it with all sorts of excuses, such as Morgans has an organization rich enough to rival the world government, the same way the Yonkos and the Rebels do, but that would be headcanon, since it's not seen in the show for over 1,000 chapters. Even if Oda shows them fighting each other in the future, it won't excuse newspapers being allowed to spread so fast and all the time. Basically, Oda fucked up by failing to combine mystery bait with hype moments. It's so obvious, I am sure his fans will notice it and be very angry about it.
It's just so exciting to be a One Piece fan.
There was this supposed mystery in Egghead Island regarding a traitor. For many weeks the Tards were making their usual bullshit theories regarding who could it be. Then the traitor was revealed and nothing came out of it. I waited half a year to see the aftermath of this so-called important betrayal, and I got nothing. It had no impact on the plot, and the Tards lost interest as soon as they found out who it was, and moved on to making theories about the next thing Oda was hinting since chapter 1. This is far from the first time there was a traitor reveal in One Piece, and every single time it was handled in the most boring way imaginable. It's yet another proof of Oda having no talent in revealing things. He just throws them at your face and acts like that is all that matters. And the Tards don't mind it because it's a revelation. It doesn't matter if there was absolutely no line of events leading to the revelation, since they got a reveal that can very easily be dubbed an ass pull. And what else can it be when there hasn't been any thought put into it? Years ago I made a video on proper traitor reveals, and I had listed all the elements that make such revelations good. If you know those gold standards, then you have yet another example for why One Piece has very bad writing, and Oda is a very bad writer. That is not an opinion, it's a fact. If you can't handle a single revelation and you just slap it on the face of the audience whenever you feel like it, you suck! Regardless of how much your fanboys are sucking you off.
The Gorosei changed the battlefield, securing every objective they were there to complete, like defeating Emperor Luffy. Okay, they did the halt Vegapunk's message, they did that. Alright, there's Vegapunk's death, you can't take that away from them, they actually achieved that. They failed to capture a 10-year-old. Even with their grand buster call, they lost. Y'all are trash.
Trash.
200 years ago, when Emmet came back to life and tried to climb the Red Line, Saturn was ordered to scrap the robot. However, nothing came out of it because the robot just stayed dormant for 200 years with everyone paying it no attention until it got activated once more. If Emmet was scrapped, according to a likely order coming straight from Imu, the whole Egghead incident would have gone towards the Gorosei's favor. Celestial dragons can't even have a nice steak. They are having to settle for mere fish like a fucking peasant. Their hunger is gonna lead to huge rifts among the different celestial families, with infighting and ranks being drawn between them. Oda has just shown us the true power of Imu-sama.
We don't care. Let me tell you.